Hi everyone, Paul from Lightbox Architecture. It's great to be back. We've got some really exciting content to share with you on the channel, so let's get started. So my name's Paul Lyon and I'm a chartered architectural technologist, and I've been working in architecture for the last 25 years. So today I wanted to do a product review, and the product that I wanted to talk about was something that I feel is filling a gap in the market, excuse the pun, and is Gapo Tape. Now, Gapo Tape, I hear you say, what on earth is Gapo Tape? Well, let's dive into today's video and let me explain. So before I start with the actual product itself, let's have a look at the background to why Gapo Tape has come into the market. Well, we've had some changes in the Part L of the building regulations, which came into force on the 15th of June 2022. Now, identified within Part L on page 36, item G, there was a note in there to state that all unavoidable gaps are to be filled with a compressible tape. And that's where this comes in. Gapo tape is essentially a compressible tape that can be used to fill any of those gaps. So what else has Part L changed? Well, Part L has also brought in what we now call the BREL compliance report. Now, this compliance report requires either the contractor or the builder to sign an actual declaration or report with photographic evidence to prove that the insulation and different areas and junctions have been installed correctly. That also means that as a contractor, you are now liable that you have signed that document to state that this work has been carried out correctly. So let's have a look at the product itself. What is Gapo Tape? Well, as you can see, it's a compressible insulation that fits alongside on the edges of your PIR board. Let me do our little Blue Peter demonstration, and here's one I've made earlier. And this will help me explain to you exactly what Gapo Tape does. If we have a look normally on site, if we take these items out here and put them to one side, this is your normal construction of for instance, a rafter. And the carpenters have put together their rafters. They've marked them at centres here, so all the centres should be the same. In between here, we need to insulate with a PIR board. Now, we've seen the PIR board and how it gets cut on site. You know, it's normally when the contractors, it's not a great job to do, so the contractor's likely to pull in the labourer or one of the other guys to fit this insulation. And I see this PIR board cut in all sorts of different ways. So, you know, we have the guys that cut it and it's loose. So we have the sprayers that will spray their expanding foam down the side in order to keep it in place. We've got the packers, you know, they've cut it slightly too small, and so they wedge in pieces of the board down the side in order to wedge it in place. We've got the nailers that fit it in, and because it's still loose and rattling round, bearing in mind that this is up on a sloping ceiling up above you, and it may want to drop out, that they nail in a couple of nails to hold it in place. We've then got the bevelers, people that cut it and they cut it down on an angle so it fits at one end, but you've got massive gaps at the top here. And then we've just simply got the deniers who don't cut it to fit at all, and we've just got massive gaps. So you can see this piece of PIR board which has been cut. Now I've cut this and this has been cut pretty well to fit in. But even so, you can see how loose this is in terms of a fitted insulation. So we've already got air gaps that you can see down these edges along here. Now this is where Gapo Tape comes in. So your Gapo Tape will fit over the edge of your PIR board. And you know, this is pretty simple stuff. Compressible tape goes on the end, peel off the adhesive, fold the flap down and stick it down on either side. So that sticks down to either side. You do that on both sides of the board and you're ready to go. Now, in true Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. So you can see on this insulation compared that we've actually fitted the Gapo Tape on either side of your PIR board. When you're cutting this stuff, and this is one of the benefits of using the Gapo Tape, is that you can actually cut the board down 10 mil shorter than you need to. So it means that you can actually cut this stuff, providing that the carpenter has built the roof and they're all at centres and correct spacings. You can cut all your insulation down below outside, somewhere where you can have a table saw and cut it exactly. Now, PIR board is notoriously difficult to cut to get a straight edge, but by using the Gapo tape on either side of it, you'll see now, as I put this in, this is a really, really tight fitting. And I've got to put some force on here to push this into this opening. And you can see then that this tape is compressed either side. Now that's in, and that's in tight. That's not going anywhere. This means that the compressible tape that we've put either side and at the edges has now sealed those gaps. Gapo tape will save you or give you an uplift of 80%. So 5 times better performance than your normal PIR board. Now, you need to look at dealing with this as part of the new Part L regulations. So you're going to have to put, Gapo tape or compressible tape in order to avoid these air gaps that this creates. So really, it's a no-brainer. It enables you to cut your boards much simpler, put the Gapo tape on, and it gives you an 80% uplift on your existing U value. I mean, this is absolutely great. And this is just simple, easy to use stuff. So we've seen how the Gapo tape fits, how it works, and I am actually going to do a demonstration for you on the next video where I'm actually going to be on site and I'm actually going to cut some PIR board for a loft conversion and fit the Gapo tape to it to show you how easy it is as I would consider myself a non-tradesperson, to see just how easy it is to fit this stuff and how it works from an on-site case study point of view. So tune into next week's video and you'll be able to see me on site cutting this stuff. I'll put a link in the description above so that you can click on that to see the next video. So let's talk about value engineering for you, the contractor, as to why would you use Gapo tape? What's the benefit to you? Well, first of all, let's talk about what we can save. So we're going to save counter battening at £1 a metre. So where you're counter battening in here, in order to put your insulation in, you don't need to do that anymore. Well, it's because it's compressible, it will stay in position, as you can see on this one. So already we're saving £1 a metre on battens. You don't need to use foam anymore. So we're not using foam and foaming down the side. So you're not using endless cans of expanding foam. You're able to cut the boards 8 to 10 mil shorter. So you can cut them outside. You can cut them in the extraction. You can set up a table where you can cut these boards much better than trying to saw them in situ with the board above your head, trying to cut them down to fit them in. So that speeds up the whole installation of putting these boards in. You can cut them, stack them, prep them, and put the Gapo tape on, and they're ready to fit. As I said, 80% uplift in the U value. So that's massive. Plus you are Part L compliant. So you're already compliant with using a compressible tape to avoid any air gaps. And the main benefit then comes back to the client. So the fact that the insulation that you've put in has now got an uplift of 80% in its performance, which means overall the building energy wise is going to perform much better and perform much better for the client. And ultimately, that's what we all want at the end of the job. We're creating buildings for our clients and we want to create the best buildings. So Gapo tape is definitely the way forward. So what sizes does it come in and how much does it cost? Well, at the moment they've got an 80mm, 100mm, 120mm and 140mm. And they've got some new sizes coming out this year. And it's about £20 a roll for 10 linear meters. So I think this at £20 is great value, looking at all the value engineering and benefits that this stuff is saving you. So I hope today's content has been really helpful and really useful to understand what Gapo tape is, what the benefits are, and how it makes your project Part L compliant. Now, if you're liking the content on the channel, then please hit the subscribe button below. That helps us to grow the channel and bring you some more great content. Also, if you've got a project in mind, then give us a call and the details are on the link below. You can get us at www.lightboxarchitecture.co.uk. You can drop us an email at info@lightboxarchitecture.co.uk or just simply pick up the phone and let's have a chat about your project. Hope to see you on the next video. Thanks guys.